This is Land of Havilah, Job 5. Job's friend Eliphaz will continue the monologue that he started in the last chapter. He'll be the only speaker in this chapter. He continues speaking to Job, verse 1. Call now, is there any who will answer you? To which of the holy ones will you turn? For resentment kills the foolish man, and jealousy kills the simple. I've seen the foolish taking root, but suddenly I cursed his habitation. His children are far from safety. They are crushed in the gate. Neither is there any to deliver them, whose harvest the hungry eats up, and take it even out of the thorns. The snare gapes for their substance, for affliction doesn't come out of the dust, neither does trouble spring out of the ground. But man is born to trouble as the sparks fly upward. Comment in verses 1 to 7, Eliphaz says to Job, when you complain to heaven against God, you'll be met with silence. There's not a single holy one, not a single angel, who'll pay attention to you. Only simpletons and fools resent God, because jealousy and resentment will kill a person. When I see a fool taking root, I curse his house immediately. His children are in constant danger. They'll be crushed. There's no one to deliver them. Their harvest will be eaten, and every last grape in their vineyard will be stolen, even if the thief has to reach among the thorns to get them. The fool will step directly into a wide-open snare. Job, affliction and troubles don't spring up for no reason. You must have done something to bring it on yourself. But then again, we're all born to trouble as surely as the sparks of a fire fly upward. Eliphaz didn't say all that as directly as your narrator rephrased it. He covered it up by being a little more subtle, but that's what he meant. Coming up, the next few verses are easy to understand that Eliphaz says his general life strategy is to commit his cause to God, because all things are in God's hands. Verse 8. But as for me, I would seek God. I would commit my cause to God, who does great things that can't be fathomed, marvelous things without number, who gives rain on the earth and sends waters on the fields, so that he sets up on high those who are low, those who mourn are exalted to safety. He frustrates the plans of the crafty so that their hands can't perform their enterprise. Comment, crafty there is the Hebrew word arum, which is the same word used to describe the serpent in Genesis chapter 3. It's the idea of being cunning in a negative way, cunning and deceitful, having a plan for wickedness. In verse 12 we just read, God frustrates the plan of the crafty. A wicked person might think he has a perfect plan that can't fail, but God will catch him in it. Speaking of that, verse 13, he takes the wise in their own craftiness. The counsel of the cunning is carried headlong. They meet with darkness in the daytime and grope at noonday as in the night. Comment, at first the evil person thought he had a perfect plan, but God frustrated that plan. So now he realizes he's back to square one, back in the darkness, groping for some way to get out. Verse 15, but he saves from the sword of their mouth, even the needy from the hand of the mighty. Comment, God protects the vulnerable from the plans of the wicked, according to Eliphaz. But we know that sometimes the wicked do have temporary success, and the vulnerable suffers loss, at least temporarily. Verse 16, so the poor has hope, and injustice shuts her mouth. Comment, the poor have hope because God might well protect them from injustice, which would otherwise open its mouth and swallow them. All this is very insulting to Job. He shouldn't have to listen to any of this philosophizing, especially when there's a presumption of guilt in it. He's having to be patient with his physical condition and this foolishness on top of it. It'd be better if his friends would just drop off a candy bar now and then and say nothing but get well soon. Now for some more insults, verse 17. Behold, happy is the man whom God corrects. Therefore do not despise the chastening of the Almighty. For he wounds and binds up. He injures, and his hands make whole. He'll deliver you in 6 troubles, yes, in 7, no evil shall touch you. Comment, all that's very scriptural, what Eliphaz said, that a man should be happy when God corrects him and sets him on the right path, that we shouldn't despise the chastening of the Almighty, that sometimes God puts us in an unpleasant situation, but it's for our discipline. He injures and makes whole. He wounds and binds up. In 6 troubles he'll deliver us. In 7, no evil shall touch you. All that's very true, very scriptural, but this is not the time for it. Verse 20. In famine he will redeem you from death, in war from the power of the sword. Comment, so drawing on our Old Testament history, since God approved of King Josiah, why did God allow him to die in war? 2 Kings 25:35 and 2 Chronicles 25:35. The sword caught up with him, or actually it was an arrow. The answer is that God allowed Josiah to die in war to spare him from the evils that were about to engulf his kingdom, 2 Kings 22:20. And no doubt God further redeemed Josiah by receiving him into glory. Eliphaz isn't all wrong. He's correct that God will redeem us from famine, war, and the power of the sword, because even if we do starve or die by the sword or die by any other cause, there's still redemption in the afterward. And in the meantime, we have the Comforter, which is the Holy Spirit, John 14:26, and we have our faith, which keeps us positive through it all. Your narrator is a retired physician and has witnessed many people of faith go slowly down the tubes to death with a positive attitude, but at the same time, many faithless people with minor problems panic and despair. Verse 21. You shall be hidden from the scourge of the tongue, neither shall you be afraid of destruction when it comes. Comment, he says the righteous will be protected from verbal attacks and any kind of destruction. Isaiah 54:17, quote, no weapon that is formed against you will prevail, and you will condemn every tongue that rises against you in judgment. Verse 22. At destruction and famine you shall laugh, neither shall you be afraid of the animals of the earth. For you shall be allied with the stones of the field. The animals of the field shall be at peace with you. Comment, there aren't any guarantees in this life that if someone throws us in the lion pit, the lions won't eat us, or that the natural elements of the universe will line up with us. But even when things go against us, God will eventually redeem us. Verse 24. You shall know that your tent is in peace. You shall visit your fold and shall miss nothing. You shall know also that your offspring shall be great, your offspring as the grass of the earth. Comment, Eliphaz is describing heaven on earth, which, by the way, will come. Revelation 21:1 and 2. Verse 26. You shall come to your grave in a full age, like a shock of grain comes in its season. Comment, a full age could be any age. Whenever the Lord's ready to take us, we have faith that that's our full age. Verse 27. Look this, we have searched it, so it is. Hear it and know it for your good. Comment, that's the end of the chapter and of Eliphaz's first monologue. His last statement in verse 27 was essentially, I know what I'm talking about because I put my mind on it. I searched it out. What I just said is all you need to know. Just take note of it and you'll be fine. So he ended on a laughable note, but he took himself seriously. Psalm 27:3, quote, a stone is heavy and sand weighty, but the provocation of a fool is heavier than both, end quote. All this foolish provocation must be quite the weight on Job. As to Eliphaz's statements that God will protect those he approves from anything negative, we could cite all of Psalm 91 to back him up, and we could cite other statements of the Bible of seeming blanket protection like that, but we need to add in verses such as the afflictions of the righteous are many, but the Lord rescues him from them all, Psalm 34:19, and the Lord disciplines those whom he loves, Hebrews 12:6, and this momentary light affliction is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison, 2 Corinthians 4:17. So there's no promise that we won't experience afflictions, just that we'll be delivered from them. Job 6 is next.